What's going on? Ladies and gentlemen, faithful followers of the D Clan, what's going on? We are back with One Piece, chapter 1153. Man. Well, it starts off with the beautiful cover page story. We have Yamato. Look like she's either finished or she's taking a break from her pilgrimage and she's hugging Kiku. Look like it's been a while, so Kiku only has one arm, so that's why I'm only showing her with the one arm, reaching out to giving each other a hug. So that's a beautiful cover story. And it looked like the woman on the bottom right there, that looks like Kinemon's wife. I can't remember her name, but yeah, that's her. Well, we flip the page here and we see, give us the backstory about King Harold here when he was a child, and he's playing with Dogi and Brogy, and it talks about he was pretty rash and wild as a child. You know what I'm saying? Kind of remind me of Odin, but he looked more. He seemed like he was a bit more bad as a child. You know what I'm saying? So it goes on here. He's on the ship. And he's picking his nose there, talking about humans. Every other place that they visit, humans are so tiny and puny and they're pathetic, And then they arrive on the kingdom of the New World, the Bunt Kingdom. And when they arrive there, they look and they see they have this giant in a cage. And it look like they're showing her off, make it look like she's part of a circus, And she's scaring the people there, and look like, she really adding them on. Now, my initial thought is that, remember, they said that Harrogen's mom wasn't of pure blood. But when they first showed her behind this cage, she had horns. So, obviously, those horns are a prop because later she doesn't have them on. So, King Harold, he's full of pride. He's like, well, they making fun of giants, huh? So basically they rescue her and they kick the human's butt. Look like they tear up the place and all that, And so they have her on the ship and they set sail, probably going back to Elbaf or maybe to a new island. And she's like, who are you? So he introduces himself, he tell her who he is. And he's like, hey, I won't stand for for you to be, for giants to be persecuted by humans, All of a sudden, boy, she slapped fire out of King Harold. And all his his fellow mates on the ship are like, what? King Harold, your majesty, what? And so he's shunning like he looking like he never got slapped before. He probably never have, since he met her. So she tells him, turn the ship around. She wants to apologize, and she goes to explain that, she washed up on that ship. She washed up on that island. She been through some things throughout the course of her life, and she ended up there on that island, washed up ashore. And the people there were kind enough to give her food and a job to help her hold her, get back up on her feet. And so, she yells and tells King Harold this right here. And he complies, and he turns the ship around. But he is actually turned on. Not just in, the physical way, but he is also turned by her mindset, and it made King Harold curious, like, why is she, so friendly? What is it about these humans, and he understands, he takes in everything that she said, that they fed her and that she was actually part of a job, to scare humans. Behind the cage, part of the circus or whatever that was, that coming attractions to the land, whatever. It's the business. So they turn the ship around, he goes back, and then she started getting luggage and stuff off the ship to try to help them rebuild their homeland. And King Harold men, been like, well, sir, hey, she's back, should we set sail? And he yells, he said, nah, what y'all standing around looking at me for? Go help her. Them boys get to moving. So they help the people, they help repair what they damaged, when they broke her out of the cage, they help her rebuild. And then King Harold went to the king of that land. It looked like he bowed down and apologized, And then some of the human children, it looks like, jumps on top of him, So he, then starts drinking with them, with the humans, partying with the humans, dancing with the humans there, getting to know them. And he's getting a different perspective. And then, Ida, if I'm pronouncing her name right, she tells, you need to see things from the human side of perspective, see things from a different lens. So he then starts to, he takes Ida with him. She decides to go with him because she didn't have to. And they travel all over the world, cross the Red Line to different villages and different islands, meeting different cultures, different people, different food, different spices. And because even some of the giants that were with King Harold said, bring some of these spices back. We don't have spices like this in Elbaf. And they look at, he's talking, he macking, King Harold in the corner macking with Ida. You know how that go. And, them boys talking back and they say, hey, King Harold changing, you know that? And dude said, yeah, he is. And then he gonna be hating, this we hate, this him. Yeah, he ain't gonna last long. So when King Harold makes it back to Elbaf, he declares to the people that he wants to atone for his sins that he committed while he was younger, and and he want to make things right, and he wants to take Elbaf on a new course. He wants to know more about other cultures, and make peace with their neighbors, and so that way they won't think that all giants are bad and just war hungry, warmongers, So, one lady in the crowd, she yells out, she says, okay, but Dorian and Brogy are still raising hell out there. And everybody, the crowd start laughing. King Harold then explained he understands how Dorian Brogy is. He said, but they always had a soft side to humans. They're always gentle and careful. And even though they are rough, they conduct themselves with a code of honor. And I thought that was really cool that he acknowledged that, And he said, but if they get too rough, we'll have to wheel them in a little bit. But you guys know Dorian Brogy. At that time, them boys, them boys were pretty laid back when it came to humans. They wasn't rough with humans. At least not when Usopp first, and in the gang, and Luffy started, ran into them at first. They wasn't bad toward humans. So we see King. I think this is his father. It doesn't say. I don't want to assume, but he has a long beard, just like Jaru, and they say, man, what a turnaround, And even Yaru was like, looked like the people that he met also took him on a journey. So we turn the page and they say, well, maybe Elbaf is gonna have, is gonna be blessed with good luck now. King Harold changing for the better, for the better. Well, he continues to travel around the world. And then nature takes its course, and King Harold and Ida, they have baby Harujin. And he wants to marry Ida. He wants to do the right thing and marry Ida. He doesn't want to leave her as a single mother, But it looks like, I'm guessing, the elders of Elbaf were real stuck in their ways, or whoever those people is in this black silhouette. They was like, no, she's not of pure giant blood. You need to marry someone of pure giant blood to keep the royal bloodline strong. I can understand that. You want to marry for love, because he loved Ida. Clearly, she changed his perspective. She changed his mindset, But because of the culture of Elbaf at that time, and the culture didn't change as fast as he would like, they have found another woman. It looked like she said she is from which village is this? This is good. Then she's from a village of the north of Elbaf. and she's of pure giant blood of the ancient giants. Now, she also doesn't have horns. Now, maybe she pulled them out, but I doubt that, though. I don't see any marks. I think if she had horns and pulled them out, I think there definitely would have been marks on top of her forehead. You know what I'm saying? On her head somewhere. So they give her, and she's, basically saying, baby, your wish is my command. And then she stopped bossing around the servants. Just know she queen already, huh? So they get married. And, she started tell them, say, hey, we're going to be eating out of silver from now on, okay? The fine stuff, we'll be eating out of that. I'm like, look at this gold digging broad right here. And because she wants all the treasures and stuff brought up to her room. Guys, be careful out there. So, she also gifts King Harold with an 8-legged horse. It's a giant horse, of course, And I say a good another 20 years or so pass. He's still traveling. He's a diplomat now. And, he's still learning about other cultures and other kingdoms. And he wants to build relationships, establish trade with other nations. And he wants to do as he please. He's been to the Fishman Island. He's been to the, he's seen mermaids and stuff like that. He's traveling all over the world and, of course, under the sea, to meet the fishmen and the mermaids and stuff like that. And he's coming back to Elbaf every now and then, telling the people, checking up on his family. And, him and his new wife, they also have a child. But she has the child while he's away on business. And while he's away on business, he's frustrated because he can't conduct business with other nations the way he wants to, because he said the world government keeps on getting in my way. He said, man, why we just can't be left alone and do business the way we want to do business? Why the world government have to dictate everything, Well, while he's away dealing with all of that, his wife back home, she has a healthy baby boy. And she tells the maids and stuff like that, caregivers of the child who helped her give birth, that, hey, me and the king decided on the name Loki. She said, show me my baby's face. Well, they show her the baby face. And the baby has crossed thick eyes. Like a demon. Well, I don't know how demons look. But in that world, that's what they want to call demon, Well, she throws a fit. She jumps away from the baby, yells and says, get that baby away from me. I mean, just acting a fool. Carrying a milk and stuff like that. I mean, it's your own child. To me, there is absolutely nothing the way that baby looks. There is nothing wrong with how Loki looks. There is nothing wrong with his eyes. He has the blood of ancient giants in him. That could have been a trait from her ancestors or King Harold ancestors that was once recessive, but when they came together, that trait probably became probably that trait became dominant. You see what I'm saying? He has the pure blood of the giants, the ancient giants. And by my understanding, the ancient giants were once pure-blooded like the ogres, the ogre giants. So, well, she throws a fit. She said, I have no child. It was a prophecy before he was born that King Harold's son is going to kill him. We don't know if that became true yet, because I don't think Loki did. If he did, it was for a different reason, but we'll have to wait and see, of course. And then I believe she took Loki and threw him down to the underworld. And baby Loki was strong enough. It looks, if that's not the Adam tree, it looks like that's the Adam tree. He's able to hold on to the Adam tree And the guard was like, you know, hey, you know, Your Majesty, you know, the head's guardsman down in the underworld. But I don't know why it says head's guardsman. Maybe the head's guardsman went after to try to rescue baby Loki. I don't know, but he's hanging on to the tree, and it looks so sad. You know, he's crying, you know? For the mother to throw her own child out the window because of the way he looks. But anyway, Harrogen mother, Ida, you know, she was like, hey, you know, let's go see your baby brother. And Harrogen is like, no, you're not his mother, therefore he's not my brother. And his mother gonna grab him by the cheeks and say, oh, you so cute even when you act like that, and give him a smooch on the cheek, you know. Then after that, the chapter ends, and it says, all of the misfortunes that would fall upon Elbaf would be known as Loki's curse. That's sad, y'all. Let me tell you something. If Oda can do one thing, Oda can write a doggone sad backstory for a character, can he? Oh, man, the emotions, man. The emotions, he can just, to me, I'm going to give this chapter a solid 4.2 out of 5 Kool-Aids. Hooray! I enjoyed this chapter. It's very, very informative. I'm glad we were able to get a lot on the backstory of King Harold. I'm glad that Ida was able to smack some fire sense into him, you know, and change his perspective about the world, about the people of the world. Because in this world, no matter what your beliefs are, no matter what your perspectives is, it's always good to have a different perspective on life and see things, because you don't want to be too closed-minded, because, you know, everybody has feelings and emotions, you know, and you got to respect that, you know. Not everybody going to see the same as you, act the way as you, do things the same. Not everybody going to do business the same, and that's fine. You know, you just do the proper evaluation and just learn who to mess with and learn who not to mess with. You know, learn what and what not floats your boat. Comment down below. Tell me if you guys enjoyed this chapter. Tell me, guys, what you think will happen next and how this story will unfold. Like the video, share this video with your friends, and subscribe. 5,000 subscribers. Hooray!